Hey everyone, it's the Lady Strange here. So this is a update on the progression and progress I have made with the past working with the Serpent Ikons deck. Now I've only actually filmed and did one video, which is on a playlist if you're interested in checking it out. And I'm already working on the third one. Yes, it's been rather a little loosely and less disciplined than I thought, but overall, naturally and subconsciously, it has seeped into my consciousness, even parts where I was not aware of or mindful of, as past working as a woman and as a witch. The magic and the mundane for me always are prevalent together and coexist. One is not separate than the other, at least not for myself. I have magic every day. I have a major mundane experience that rules everything, but I always try to marry and be mindful of the magic aspects and how I can use those and harness those to empower myself and help me learn, grow, evolve, and shed the old beliefs and the old versions of myself to continually be a better version of myself as a left-hand practitioner, but as a woman in this human life experience and vessel in these changing, ever-changing, troubling, and difficult adversarial times, but being the adversary of my own self, my own beliefs, and my own life, but in an empowered, effective way. So this deck, of course, as I go through the progression of this, and as I see fit, and what works for me, ultimately, is I'm not going to show each card as I go through it and stuff because some can be very offensive, disturbing, may evoke certain feelings on there or may not be suitable just for general YouTube, even though I'm known to film a lot of photographic and nudic decks, which I do not see anything in that. I don't find any shame or anything on that, but as most of us know or be mindful and aware of, a lot of people get butthurt on things. I'm not able to look at things a little bit more with perception or objectivity. But no slam on anyone specific. It's just to each their own, as I say. So, to my own, I created this past working for myself after getting this deck as a birthday present to myself in January. And, of course, I keep a journal. Not as effective as I want to, but enough to be fair with myself and the time and the multiple projects, ideas, and life that I experience day to day. So before this gets too rambly, and before the mosquitoes decide to come out fully, then I'm going to try to take advantage of being outside here on my patio. So here is of course, just real quick, the lovely cover, beautiful hardback book, and look at that, like sigil, that is gorgeous. And there's also one on the back, so look at that. It's worth it. This is an indie deck. It is very expensive. So much like people do the Clip-Gothic journey or this Tree of Life journey and other things, I created this for myself, not by my own map, and just how life and circumstances guide me in my magical occult path. So basically, here's a picture. I do have the card in my journal, but again, which I keep on my altar. This is one of my altar decks. But here is the card. You can see a nice image of it right here, if you want to take a closer look, or photo of it. And basically, the Serpent Icon 2, which I worked through, and basically, according to my journal here, I'll go back. Wow. I started it approximately on March 16th of 2025, and believe that I ended somewhere, end of May-ish, beginning of June, that I started the next one. Again, loosely, this is what works for me. So this icon here, again, here's the actual card. As you can see, it is a very elongated deck. I like bigger decks. I like big decks, and I cannot lie. Yeah. But yes, I like the bigger, wider decks and stuff, even though I have small hands, as you can see. That does not factor into for me. And it does help to see the artwork and creativity and the magic that goes into some of these decks, much more when they are of a larger size and visualization, and helping to step one to see everything, the different details that speak each time you grab it, with the artist's interpretation, the energy, and step into the cards. So here is, if you want to take a look at it, this is for the actual card if you want to pause it. I don't know if it'll come in focus or not, but Serpent Icon 2 is the Daemon, or Daemon, which stems from Greek, the Greek language and concept of the daemon. Not to be confused with the demon, but that term was twisted by Christianity and Abrahamic religions and cultures as a way to demonize the different deities that once were deities, gods, or beings and entities. So they're two separate things. So the Greek daemon is supposed to be like similar to the holy guardian angel, if you know that term, or you can look it up, of course, on Google, or one's guiding spirit, one that guides them personally throughout this life, or in more modern terms, and in my own philosophy and experience, is a version of the higher self. But it is an aspect of the self, but a higher, more ascended version of the self, the one that guides, protects, whispers wisdom, seeing all the past of your soul's incarnations, the past of this life, the present, and the future that may come to be, that guides, whispers truth, shows experience, protects, and tries to help us to be a better versions of ourselves. That's how I look at it, and that's how it works for me and connects. So again, hopefully you got to see the entry on there to see. But basically, I'm just going to, basically it says, so this deck in the guidebook refers to the person that's using the deck, the magician or the person, as an operative or operant. Well, yeah, my typical, operant. My typical mispronunciation, yeah, whatever it is. So yeah. So basically, with that being said, then it is, so basically, just from the guidebook on here, it is not solid matter of the operative or operant that this icon refers to, but to that which pre-exists, the physical form, and to that which, the light here keeps fading in and out in my poor eyesight, but that which does the work of salve et coagula, which is a term, of course, of alchemy. You can look that up, of course. The consciousness, the animation, or the animation, wow, I can't read, animating spirit, the beloved of the eternal soul, the daemon. So that's what this card refers to and what I've explained so far. So it says that movement is inherent. Inertia and impossibility. The daemon is on a path, and steps are being taken simply by virtue of being in a human form, being tied so intimately to its ensures this, being tied to it ensures this. Yeah, okay, better not, because then you're going to see, yeah. The question then becomes whether the daemon will consciously and deliberately animate the physical form, or whether the physical form will abdicate knowledge of the daemon, choosing instead to follow the predetermined route of the society and culture into which it was born into and is raised. And for this, or for the operant, I don't know, I keep putting your T in there, for the operant, the choice is a clear one. This choice then becomes the life of the initiate and the path regardless of labels or directions, and is a intricate one. Okay, again, I gotta get my eyes looked at. Procrastination, yeah. My own fault, my own acknowledgement, accountability, soon enough. So, with that being said, with this, so how I've experienced it, and I think I've been conscious throughout my life, to be honest, but actually more so in the past several years, I would say, of my daemon, my higher self. As I said, it's an aspect of myself. Did I question? And just sorry about the background noise here. There seems to be a lot of traffic and people and things taking advantage of the 4th of July. But without that being said, I'll try to speak a bit louder, despite the neighbors being around or whatever. I don't care. I don't even interact with them anyway. I'm a hermit. So, basically, I've been conscious my whole life. Now, have I listened when that voice whispered? Many times, but more often than not, doubt. Sometimes you wonder, like, what the hell is that? Am I being delusional? Am I making up things? Is it something wrong with me? Am I going insane? No. Yeah, that can often be a perception, of course, especially when you're on the occult path and you're a magician and practitioner and you deal with a lot of the seeing beyond the perceived, or perceiving beyond the seen, should I say, feeling initiations of different experiences, paranormal, magical, and just in humanity, the experience is different. And of course, in being a woman, it's different. No matter what, we all have masculine and feminine energies. But it is a guiding force because it's seeing the past incarnations. It sees the current. It marries them. It sees what your future and what you want to become to be, or what may come to be. And also tries to whisper that and guide you in the right direction. It can also come to you as besides a voice, a whisper, a hint, a riddle, more often than not, that gut feeling, that signal, maybe things it kind of presents to you, that which it can, because it is in a higher aspect, but it's also something that's telling you to reach higher, to achieve more, to experience more, to honor yourself, to stand up for yourself, your truth, to be a better human, to be a better version of yourself, to be a stronger, more capable person and magician, and in my case, be a more capable woman. And marry that magic into the mundane, to strive, to rise, and move through and show up for yourself, even in the smallest ways that you can. But to realize and to better know thyself, and to know thy truth, and to know thy power. Not like just magical power, but the power of basically showing up for yourself, your courage, your strength, your voice, your experience, your knowledge, your relationship, your boundaries, your magic, what you can create and what you can destroy. Because in my philosophy and things, as I've been told also by the Dark Lord, you know, let's just put it that way, then it all begins with you and all begins with you. So in my case, it all begins with me and ends with me, especially as a left-hand practitioner. And I will go into a video with that at some point soon of my conscious path, and have been working with that for over a year. I believe I've been doing it much longer, but on a conscious level of being on the left-hand path, plus ties in mentioning that to this deck and experience. So basically, here is my lovely black book that I do the journaling for in this. Gorgeous. I actually got this at Hobby Lobby. The Christian store. Wouldn't they be proud of that? But yeah. Yeah. So basically, as I said, I started my first entry for this March 26th. I only actually done 2, maybe 3 entries, but they were fruitful enough and effective enough, and I'm satisfied with that, and enough to document my thoughts, feelings, gnosis, and experience. Things can be extremely daily journaling, or it can be once. Hey, it's all whatever works. I constantly change, and we all should constantly change, as this is one of the purposes that ties into why I'm doing this. So, so basically, let's see if I can read my own writing. Okay, so my first entry just puts my first impressions, and I can hold this up here, just so you see. The daemon is the link between the worlds, the physical, the liminal, and beyond the realm and veil. Present, in my case, she watches, ever observant of oh my, I have a bee on me. Hold on, guys. Oh, I'm not going to stop filming, but I hope I don't get stung. That's all I need. I'm a type 1 diabetic, so I was trying to stay still, but I kind of shoot it away. Hopefully it won't come at me and sting me. Who knows? Sign, who knows? Whatever. But, yeah. Alright. So, okay, let's see, where was I? Okay, so I'm not going to bother reading it to my own handwriting. Most of it's legible, most of it's not. I'm not going to put you all through that pain. But basically, I hope I didn't get stung on my boob. Sorry guys, I think I got stung on my boob. Great. Okay. Well, so basically, something wanted me not to share this, who knows. But to finish off, because rambles. So, in the term that I was constantly working with, that the daemon becomes more aware of its form also through my human life experiences and interactions. I did use the Abyssal, I did use the Abyssal Tarot. That is my daemon deck, my higher self deck, to put it that way, as part of daily readings. Not every day, but most part, especially during that period of time. The photography and the colorations of that, the evocativeness, the different whispers, the emotions, and the guidebook itself with this little paragraph marry what I know is a higher version of myself and speaks to that wisdom, that kind of whispers, that hint, the deviantness, the riddles, but also the womanhood, the beauty of the female body and the male body, the beauty of magic, the beauty of emotion and imagination and truth. So that gave me, when I connected purposely with myself and sat there and channeled and felt and experienced and allowed and felt that and perceived and actually listened to it more, I became more aware, it became more aware of me, more of things that I could say, hey, this is why certain things throughout my life, and my daemon or higher self actually spoke more to me. So it connected through that icon of it, bringing it more into my present day consciousness as a woman in this human life experience, but also maybe trying to be more connected with it to give it experience, because yes, we are one of the same, but we're different parts of the same whole. So this has certainly enriched me because it's given me a stronger perception in listening to my voice. Listening to what I know is inherently right for me, to be guided on the right path, but also to know that I'm the one to show up and to do the work. But certain things and signs are presented and steered in a direction for a certain way. And my magic has inherently increased because I do know my daemon. She speaks to me as I am guided intuitively, and even from past life and experiences that are brought into this one, for what works right for me and not right for everyone else, and what society conforms. So I chose, as it said in that rather messy reading of mine of that book, but I can see the reality of myself and find humor in it. That's what we should all do. Is I choose to work consciously and make my daemon as conscious as possible, as I am conscious of her, and how it's going to increase and bring more things into my fruition as my experience as a woman with spiritual being, as a magician, and to honor my sovereignty and divinity, to hail thyself, to know thy power, and know thy truth. So, with that being said, yes, a bit random, that's what I meant to say, and rambly, but if you stayed this far, well, thank you. And if you enjoy this video or any other ones, please like, comment, and subscribe. If not, well, this is my bloggy channel. So with that, stay strange.